Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we are currently in process of trying to get these roads to look a little bit better. They currently look like this, and what we definitely need at this point is to be determining, well, we've already determined where the intersections are, and the code knows what piece of road belongs to what piece of road. So we'll need to rotate the straightaways appropriately. And we will also need to put in 2 types of corners, as well as multiple types of intersections. So first things first, let's go ahead and model ourselves some of this, shall we? So let's open up our road.blend mesh, as Outlaw fires up Dead by Daylight. Good job, Outlaw. Okay, so first things first, we are definitely going to be needing screencast keys on. I'm going to go ahead and go into User Preferences and into Add-ons and Screencast Keys so that you can actually see what keys I'm using here. And then we'll turn on our display for that. Okay, so here we have our road, and I'm going to create a circle here with 6 vertices so we can actually see our hex. And I'm just going to position that at 0, 0, 0. Okay. I'm not going to fill that in or anything, that's just a guide. So the first thing we probably want to do is go ahead and put in an edge loop with Control R right here. I'm not sure what point that will serve quite yet, but I feel like it will be important. And then I'm going to go ahead and go into wireframe mode with Z, box select this, and I'm going to rotate this. What do I need here? 60 degrees? Yeah, 60 degrees seems right. Now, obviously, this is having some issues right here. So, one thing I might want to consider doing, because as you can see, as we move this up here, we start having some severe mesh distortion. So one thing I might want to consider doing here as we do this is how exactly I want to do this corner. I still want to have these vertices, but we're going to need to change some things. So let's go ahead and move this in. Let's see here, 0.866, so 0.433, I think. And then this would be up, instead of 1.5, it'd be 0.75. Yes. Okay, so these vertices are now correct. So the next thing that I want to do is I think we should go ahead and get rid of the only faces out this direction. So let's get rid of only faces out here, as well as these faces. Delete only faces. Okay. I'm going to go into edge select mode, and I'm going to go ahead and delete these edges as well. But I want to have these vertices still over here. And then this can go ahead and be these can still be faces, that's perfectly fine. We can then extrude this back some, actually that's pretty good right there, I like that. So about negative 0.66, thereabouts. We may need to tweak this ever so slightly. Oh, that wasn't where I wanted to be. I want to be in top ortho right now, so numpad 7 and 5 for ortho view. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this, and I'm going to re-extrude this. Reason being, I can't slide along the edge unless I overshoot, which I want to do a little bit here. I want to go ahead and overshoot this to be, I don't know, maybe like 0.75. So right about there. We've got ourselves a nice little collision going on. We don't need a face here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that face, and then I'm going to grab these vertices and put that in there. These vertices down here, just make this curb over here. And that makes this corner on this side. Now this is, of course, not the sharp corner. This is the slightly smoother corner. And then we're going to need to go ahead and create a few vertices over here for this little pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and create an edge loop around here. And I'm going to do that and then zoom way, way in and just try to get this as close to on this line as possible, and then we'll readjust it later. Okay, so the only vertices we're going to be using here are these two verts. Let's go ahead and go back into top view, and then on the y-axis, let's grab this value here, 0.4. That's exactly where we need to be, and it is there currently. Okay, so that is perfect. Fantastic. So these are now in the correct location. So then we also need vertices over here. So I'm going to do the same thing, loop cut here. And I'm going to place it right about there. Go ahead and go into top view with numpad 7. Zoom way, way in. Get the correct location here. And then this should be 0.35. Yes, it is correct. Excellent. And then we'll need the same thing on these two locations. So I'm going to go ahead and do another loop cut. Take it in approximately correct, and then zoom way, way in ortho mode. And place it basically right on. Right about there-ish. And that should be at 0.4, and it is. Perfect. Now we need a vertice here. Or, well, two vertices. One high and one low. So I'm going to place it approximate, and then zoom way, way, way in. And it should be at 0.35, and it is. Okay, so we now have the vertices we need. We can go ahead and delete these vertices, as well as these vertices, as well as these vertices, and these vertices, and finally these vertices, and finally these three vertices. I'm not going to delete this one quite yet, although we will need to delete that one. So we now have the vertexes in... Vertexes? I've been saying vertices this whole time. Why would I say vertexes right now? We've now got the vertices in place to create this inner corner. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and have the square here, well, more of a rhombus really, be its own face, and then a face there. Now we don't actually need a face here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that face. And I'm going to go ahead and do... What am I doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to do this. There. Okay. And create a face here. There we go. Excellent. And I don't think we need these bottom-facing faces. So I'm going to delete those. And now I'm going to save this as... And this is going to be saved as road... underscore corner underscore, what do I want to use? Dull? That's the opposite of sharp. This isn't a sharp corner. I guess I'll just call this a regular corner. I want to make sure that I didn't accidentally hit Control S here. Let me check the road here. Okay. Yeah, that looks perfect. Okay, good. I didn't accidentally overwrite the road. Okay. So, now that we have this corner in progress, and this is our non-sharp corner, we do need to redo this here. And I'm going to go ahead and just delete this vertex, and we're going to recreate this. So first things first, I'm going to create this edge right here, and then this edge right here, and it will be like that. Now, as far as this goes, do we technically need these two vertices? Or rather, these four vertices? No, we actually don't. I'm going to save some poly budget here, get rid of them, and recreate this without them. Like, this is fine. It's exactly the same mesh data, we just have fewer faces there. There we go. Okay, and then a face there, and then finally a face there. Now this is going to need some texture work, so let's go ahead and go into our UV image editor. Yeah, you can see this is definitely going to be needing some texture work. Overall, it's reasonably good, but let's go ahead and grab these, and let's take a quick look at how that's panning out in the text, or in the UV. That's panning out very poorly indeed. So I'm going to just go ahead and, in the 3D view, go to Shading UV, Unwrap, And I'm going to project from view bounds only for these three, not for any of the curb mesh or any of the curbs, because I think those are okay. I'm not 100% on that. We'll check those in a moment, but we then need to get this. And I do want to straighten this a bit. So let's go ahead and rotate this back 60 degrees and then place it down here. And I want to place this at a Y of, hang on a moment. I want to place this at basically, what is this, 256? Yes, 256 and 140.55. 140.55 for right now. This can be placed at 0, 256. I'm just straightening all of this out. This can be at 128, as can this. 128. And then this, actually, let's move this over like, what, like 64? Something like that. And then 128 plus 64, so 192, and then 0. And then this is at 0, 0. This can be at 0. Excellent. And then scale this on the y-axis to be, you know, something kind of like that-ish. Okay. And now let's invert our selection. So go to Select. Come on. There we go. Select Inverse. And then let's check our UVs here. Yeah, okay. 3D View. Unwrap. Project from view bounds. And we need to do basically the same sort of thing. Rotate that 60-ish degrees. This doesn't matter nearly as much, so I'm just gonna mostly eyeball this. Okay, something kind of along the lines of that, and then I'm gonna scale this down pretty significantly. We don't need much detail in these curbs, we just need them to have essentially the right color. Okay, let's see how that looks. I'm gonna go ahead and import in the road corner. Yeah, I know it's too big. I'm well aware of that. That is to be expected. And then I'm just going to take the building materials road here. Okay, that actually turned out quite well. That looks fine. I'm reasonably pleased with that. I do think that we have too much in our corner here. I think we have too much texture there. So I'm going to go ahead and narrow this a little bit by about half. And let's take a quick look at what that changes. Yeah, that looks much better. That's about right. Excellent. So now we have ourselves our non-sharp corner. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and modify this because this is mostly what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and modify this for our sharp corner, and it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to then save as road corner sharp. There we go, save as Blender file. And actually, as long as we're doing this, I'm going to close that. I'm going to go into our meshes here, and let's just create a folder here. And let's create this as buildings, just to keep this a little bit more clear. And I'm going to move all of these into the building other than our hex mesh. Okay, so this is road corner sharp here. Oh, and one thing we need to do, this error message here is absolutely right. We need to come into our road corner and delete our hex mesh because it's not useful to us anymore. Unity? Are you okay? Okay, Unity's okay. It just didn't like to re-import that, I guess. Excellent. Okay, so we've got our road corner now, and let's grab our road corner sharp. And first things first, we're going to start this basically the same way. We're going to grab all of these vertices, rotate that another 60 degrees, so this direction here, and I'm just going to move it over negative 0.866, so that will be right on our line here. And as you can see, we've got ourselves some issues here. I'm going to grab these vertices here. And pretty much the only change we need to make is moving this back a bit. I don't know exactly where yet. We'll figure that out in just a moment, actually. One thing we're going to need to do, based on looking at this, is we're going to need to move this out by the distance between these. So let's go ahead and go down here and turn on our edge length, which is currently, if I can zoom in here, our edge length is 0.05, I think. Yes. Okay, so let's move this here, 0.05, out this direction. I don't think that will be enough. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. But let's move this in the Y, or actually in the X-axis. Hang on, did I not grab everything here? There we go. Okay, so we're going to need this to be something kind of like this. Something kind of hilarious like that. And then we would move this all right back here until this is basically straight, is the idea. So we want... Okay, if I move this over here, you can see we want this line here that's not currently straight. We want this to be exactly straight, and we want this to be as close to straight as we can. So we're going to need to move some things here. I'm going to go ahead and create an edge here, and that's going to be our guide edge, this one right here. And then I'm just going to grab this vertice here and move it until we're right on our line. And I'm going to zoom way in to make sure we get as close to that as possible. It doesn't have to be exact, but pretty close is good. Like, that's incredibly close right there. So then we can grab this edge and delete that. And we now know that this is probably correctly positioned. And then I'm going to grab this here and do the same thing. We'll create an edge there. And then we will move this right here on the Y-axis, or rather on the... Hang on a moment. That's going to do that. We need to move this on the X-axis until this is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's move this on the X-axis, get pretty close here, and zoom way in. And I think right here is about as close as we're going to get. Okay, so let's delete our guide here. And this is our sharp corner here right now. Now, there are some issues with it, obviously. This over here is a pretty big issue currently. So we will need to move this vertex over here along up this direction a bit so that this is now straight. Because we've got this over here the way we want it to be, but this over here is not currently the way we want it to be. So we want these lines to be as straight as possible. We don't want them converging, we want them to be parallel. So, the other thing that we should probably consider doing is getting ourselves a guide here and moving this angle so that it is about like this. And we'll zoom way in and see where we are here. Move that along the X-axis and right about here. And actually, screencast keys turned off again, didn't it? Oh well. I guess it is what it is. Okay, so here's this complete, and we can go ahead and delete our edge here. There it is. Delete that edge. Excellent. Now, as far as this goes, is this currently straight? Not quite, actually. So we can go ahead and straighten up this as well. Move that along the X-axis. And I'm just going to line up these right here. There we go. Close enough to straight. Delete that edge. And now the question is, how are we going to do this here? Well, one thing that I think we should probably do is go ahead and create, not really an edge loop, but let's go ahead and grab this here. So this entire curb in edge select mode, and I'm going to subdivide it, like so. Okay, so I want to then move this until it is exactly at this y value, 0.35. So let's go ahead and do that. 0.35 is right here. I hit G twice to slide it along, by the way. Okay, we need every vertex to be at 0.35. So I'm going to move these two individually, adjust my DPI to move this a little finer. Okay, this is probably close enough. Actually, can I get even closer? Yes, that's close enough. And now I will just snap it to 0.35. And same thing here. So 0.35 is what we're shooting for. That's close enough. 0.35. Okay, excellent. Okay, so with that there, we can then delete these faces. Not edges, delete these faces. And extrude this out. Okay, yeah, see, this is more like the angle we're going for, right here. So actually that whole thing was pointless, because I'm dumb. Okay, so let's just bring that out, and we need to just widen this up a little bit. So these vertices here are fine. These vertices will have to go. I wasted a bunch of time. Well, these vertices can go. And then these vertices will have to go. And then we will extrude this out, except I'm going to make a face so we can extrude along the normal. There we go. And now we know where our vertices need to go. They'll need to go right there. So all we'll need is two vertices here and two vertices here to really make this work. So let's go ahead and do a loop cut right here. And I'm going to go ahead and do this for now. Zoom way, way in and grab along here, position it at pretty much exactly where it needs to be. This is at a Y value of negative 0.4392. And an X value of 0.48725. That doesn't seem right to me, somehow. But it seems to be about right visually, which is what's important, ultimately. So I'm going to do another loop cut and place it right about here. There we go. And it should go exactly right here. Then these vertices and these vertices can be deleted. And these vertices can be deleted. And these vertices can be deleted. Okay. And now we have what we need. So let's go ahead and make these curbs. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay. This is a very sharp corner indeed. And this one went the wrong direction, so I'm just going to flip direction over there to make sure the normal is correct. Same here, actually. That one needs to be flipped too. Actually, this one does as well. I blame the fact that this one was the wrong way. There we go. Okay, so here we have kind of a curve. It's very, very sharp, but that is kind of to be expected. That really kind of is to be expected. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. Kind of feels like we need like one more point up here, doesn't it? Hypothetically, what happens if we do around the 3D cursor and set our 3D cursor at 0, 0, 0? What happens if we duplicate this with Shift D, rotate it around? Okay, that's what it would look like. Interesting. What happens if we don't duplicate it and just rotate it around? It would look kind of like that. Okay. Well, I do think that this up here should probably be more like up here. So, okay, one thing we should absolutely do this, is check this distance. This distance is 0.9058. We should be moving this so that this distance is basically the same, which currently I believe it is not. Yeah, currently it's 1.148. So I'm just going to slide this along here until we get about to the same 0.9. 0.98, was it? About there? 0.9058. Okay. So I'm just going to grab this again and just keep sliding it until we get to about 0.9058. Let's see, adjust my DPI so I can do this a little finer. Looks like 0.9062 is the closest we get. That's fine. Yeah, that certainly looks much more curved, if you will. It's not exactly curved, but it is what it is. Okay, so this is our road corner sharp, and now we should go ahead and do our UV. Oh boy. Okay. It's going to take a little time to do that UV. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode we will continue working on our road meshes. See you all then.